Hello and welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something huge, how to really, truly transform the way we use AI in healthcare. And you'll see pretty quickly, it's not about the latest app or gadget. It's about a whole new way of thinking.
So let's start with this massive paradox that's happening right now. For most people, AI just kind of makes the mess we're already in even messier. It feels like you're just spinning your wheels, only faster. But then you've got this small group of elite users, and for them, AI isn't just some advantage, it is the advantage. So what's their secret? What's the real difference maker here? I'll tell you what it's not. It's not about learning a bunch of fancy prompt tricks. The real secret is something much deeper. It's about upgrading your mental infrastructure, about installing a totally new system for how you think with a machine. Which, of course, brings up the million-dollar question, right? What do these people know that the rest of us are missing? How are they turning AI into this incredible source of leverage while so many others just get overwhelmed? Well, the answer is they've literally installed a new mental operating system. Think about that. They've rebuilt their entire default mode for how they solve problems, make decisions, and create things. They don't just use AI, they've woven it into the very fabric of how they think. So what do we actually mean by an operating system upgrade? It's this new framework in your head that takes a simple chatbot and turns it into a genuine extension of your mind. It's a set of habits that makes AI feel less like a tool you just hand tasks off to and more like a second brain that you think with, side by side. And here's the best part. This whole new operating system, it's built on just 7 specific learnable habits. And these aren't just little productivity tips. These are practices that will fundamentally change your entire relationship with AI. So let's dive in. We'll start with the first set of habits, which are all about designing your system. You got to get this part right because everything else is built on top of this foundation. Habit number 1 is the architect protocol. See, most people start by just asking AI a question, but elite users, they start by designing a system. They think like an architect, first defining what goes in, what they want to come out, and the repeatable logic that gets them there. They're building frameworks, not just shouting one-off commands. And in healthcare, this applies to everyone. A patient can act like an architect by structuring how they describe their symptoms to get much clearer questions for their doctor. A clinician can design a repeatable system for creating patient education materials. And a leader, they can architect how AI is integrated across the entire organization. Next up, habit 2, codifying mode. This one is a game changer. The idea is so simple but so powerful. Solve a problem really well once, and you should never have to solve it from scratch again. You codify that solution. You turn its logic into a reusable asset, like a template, and suddenly you can get infinite value from that one single insight. You can see how huge this is in a clinical setting, right? A patient can save a great template for describing their symptoms. A clinician can build a system that generates customized pre-op instructions, saving them hours and hours of repetitive typing. A leader can codify what makes a process successful and scale it across the entire hospital system. Habit 3, stack fluency is so critical. Most people become tool dependent. They learn the buttons on one specific app. But the pros, they become tool fluent. They understand the underlying logic of how these things work. For a clinician, that means when a new EHR system gets rolled out, they're not panicking. They adapt instantly because they get the principles of data flow, not just where the old buttons used to be. AI is not a tool for delegation, it's a mirror for your thought. Just let that sink in for a second. It's the perfect bridge to our next set of habits, which are all about how we actually interact with the systems we've so carefully designed. So that brings us to part 2, activating your system. This is where we go from being an architect to being a partner. We're moving from static design to a dynamic, creative conversation with AI. And that brings us to habit 4, mirror looping. Instead of just barking orders at AI, you pull it into a real dialogue. You use it as a thinking partner to poke holes in your own arguments, to challenge your assumptions, and to show you your own blind spots. The goal isn't just to get an answer. It's to get to a better question, to get clarity. In healthcare, this is profound. A patient can use this process to clarify things they don't understand about their own condition. A clinician can stress test a potential diagnosis by literally asking the AI, "What am I missing here?"
A leader can use it to find the flaws in a new hospital policy before it gets rolled out to thousands of people. Habit 5 is all about shifting to what we call an outcome OS. This is a huge mental shift. We have to stop tracking activity and start measuring actual impact. The question is no longer, did I write 5 summaries today? The real question is, did my work improve diagnostic accuracy by 10%? We have to move from just being busy to creating real measurable value. So, how do you figure out what actually creates those great outcomes? Well, that's habit 6, weekly experiments. You don't have to boil the ocean. Just set aside 30 minutes a week to try one new little thing. Maybe a clinician tests a new workflow for summarizing patient notes. You test it, you write down what you learned, and you let those little insights stack up over time. It's how you get better without burning out. All right, we've designed our system. We've activated it. Now for the final part, fortifying it. This last habit is what makes the whole thing durable. It's what makes it last. And that is habit number 7, dynamic stability. See, most people try to build systems that are perfect, that will never fail. But elite users do the opposite. They build systems expecting them to fail, and they design them so they can recover in a heartbeat. The goal isn't perfection, it's resilience, it's adaptability. And you know, this is absolutely vital in a field like healthcare. For a patient, it means having a backup plan if their health app glitches right before an appointment. For a clinician, it means using modular AI tools, so if one breaks, your entire workflow doesn't collapse. And for a leader, it's about building an organization that can pivot fast when new tech or new regulations come along. So to bring it all home, the real power of AI doesn't come from the tool itself. It comes from building these 7 habits, this mental operating system that creates what we call resilient leverage. Your true edge isn't having the one perfect system. It's your ability to adapt, rebuild, and improve it no matter what happens. In the end, your ability to rebuild is your edge. So I'll leave you with this. What's just one of these habits you can start working on this week? If you want to go way deeper on this entire framework, I highly recommend you check out the book Healthcare AI Revolution, a practical guide for clinicians, executives, and patients by Dr. El Mostafa Bawatan. Thank you for joining us.